Hee-ho! This is the obligatory gear review. A lot of hikers like to show what they're going to bring with them on the hike. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, and I haven't figured everything out, but here's kind of what I got to go with so far, so just wanted to show this to you. I am not taking this. This is a scale that weighs pounds and ounces. I just want to show you that I am weighing stuff. I haven't completed everything, but I absolutely want to keep my pack as light as I can, but my pack's going to be heavier than a lot of ultralight hikers have, so I'm trying to keep it reasonably light. So you got to start with the big three. That is sleeping, your shelter, and what you're going to carry everything with. So sleeping, this was the one big investment I made. Western Mountaineering sleeping bag, real lightweight, comfy. Man, it's really nice, like it. So spent a little bucks on that, but it's worth it. And then you have a mattress underneath it to keep you comfy and warm from the cold ground. And a stuffed sack that you put the sleeping bag in, and this compresses everything, makes it fit in your pack really nice. Then an inflatable pillow there. So that's sleeping. Now, a lot of my gear is 20 years old or so, stuff I've gotten used to. And so my shelter is this REI nightlight. And it's about 4 pounds, and a lot of hikers say way too heavy. But man, I like it. Planning to bring it, down the trail. Maybe I find a real lightweight shelter that I like or something, decide to change it out. But for now, that's your tent. This is the fly to keep the rain off you, the poles, and the stakes. So that is my shelter. Now you need a pack, right? Well, this is my REI Valhalla pack that I've had for a long time, but guess what? Today, a big gaping hole opened up in the bottom of that pack. And it's kind of fitting. It was my last training hike today, and I put a lot of weight in it, and it gave out. So it might be an excuse for me to get a new lightweight pack, but man, this was a champ. Might want to get it replaced. Repaired. But I liked it, and may still like it. So clothing, that was my big three. Clothing, shirts like this. This is a long sleeve synthetic shirt. And this is a short sleeve one. You want stuff that is not going to get wet and stay wet. It's going to dry. It's going to be lightweight. So that's what you want. I kind of like long sleeves and long pants to keep you from getting whacked. These are not underwear. You don't want cotton. These are swimming or running shorts. So that's what goes underneath everything. And these are long pants. They're nice lightweight material that dries out quick, and that's a belt. Then you got foot stuff here. These are gaiters. They go between the pants and the shoe, keep rocks and thorns and stuff out of your shoe, and socks. These are Solomon hiking shoes. Like them a lot. I've used them for several months. Man, I think I'm going to stay with them. These are socks. These are inner liners, and these are nice, comfy outside ones. I kind of like to put both of these together. The liner on the inside and these on the outside, so the socks are rubbing together instead of your foot against something. So that's most of the inner layer stuff. Now we have things like bandanas to keep you from getting sweat in your eyes. A big brim hat that I got cheap. And this is a bug net. Important to have. You wear that over your head. Keeps the mosquitoes from driving you nuts. This is called a buff. It is very helpful. It can be used to wear as a hat, a scarf, a lot of things to keep you warm and keep the dust away from you. This is an outer layer shirt. Again, it's a lightweight thing. If it's windy and stuff, this can be nice to have on the outside. And if it's really pretty cold, this is a kind of a base layer. This should keep you warm. These, I like to hike with gloves. I've got 2 sets of gloves. I don't know if I'm going to take both of them with me necessarily, but These are like biking gloves, and these are cheap, kind of leathery gloves. So these will help if you have thorny things and if you're reaching for something and it can scratch you. These are good, but if you're looking just to kind of keep the sun off your hands or not to abrade too much, these are lighter weight and comfy. So there's that. This is a rain jacket. And you can see how compact it is. I won't take it out of there, but it's a nice little rain jacket with a hood on it. So that should keep me reasonably dry. Then you have stuff you're going to wear to bed, because what you like to do after a long day in grimy stuff is to put on something that's kind of clean, dry, and you don't get your nice expensive sleeping bag all grubby. So here's some socks that I got when I got my colonoscopy. Yahoo! These are some shorts, and this is another shirt just like the other one that I showed you before. So that's clothing. Now we're going to go over here into electronic gear. One of them I have in my hand. That's the iPhone. How the heck do you use an iPhone and charge it? Well, there's my Goal Zero solar panel with a battery, and I've used that. I think it works pretty well, but there's a caveat. See this cord here? This is the charging cord that you get for any iPhone. These things are just kind of flaky. Sometimes they just stop working, they get a short or something. So I may have to go through a bunch of those. This is a charger for when I get to a hotel so I can charge up. This is a spot device that I'm going to carry with me so you can follow me along the trail, mark my location. And speaking of location, here are compasses. This is a lightweight one. This is a kind of a more substantial one. You know, the bigger one has a declination, the other one doesn't, and I like the mirror thing in there, so I may go back and forth between them. So you got batteries, obviously, and one of the things you use batteries for is a headlamp. That is mighty helpful when sun goes down and you got to see what the heck you're doing when you're setting up your tent. These are some things that I haven't completely settled on. This is things like Vaseline, insect repellent. So I'm going to go through this tomorrow and figure out what I do need and don't need. Toilet paper and an extra tent stake so you can dig a hole and do your business and clean yourself up. But guess what? See this? How about that? There's a nice round rock that, believe it or not, you can use that rock instead of this. You can also use snow, leaves, as long as they're not poison ivy. Obviously, don't use a rock that has jagged edges on it. That could hurt. So I'm just saying, there's some options there. And the advantage of using something that's out there is you don't have to worry about disposing of paper and things. I really like having a comb out there because when you get grubby, you really want to get the chunk out of your hair. And when you get grubby, I've got these little towels. I actually cut these up from some other material. This is a very absorbent material, lightweight and so forth. So I got one smaller one I use for scrubbing, and this one is bigger for drying. I tend to keep that with me. This is dental stuff. Again, I'm not sure I need all of that, but I'll go through that. No, I guess tomorrow. All right, got some old tape here. Man, that's been through a war or two. These little things have had Achilles tendon issues. And these can be used to do what are called trigger point exercises. You know, they take up room in the pack and you don't weigh that much or anything. But it might be pretty good to have after a hike if I'm getting some cramps or something to rub things out. So I got some first aid stuff. This is kind of an emergency blanket that is very lightweight, very thin, but insulates you very well. So that's a lot of my stuff for electronics and other gear. Maps, gotta have them. And I have 2 sets of them, and I'm showing you the maps that I intend to start out with, not the entire set of maps for the whole trail, because you don't need them until you get to the next city, so you can get the maps for the next city when you get there. But these will be in my pack. You want to put them in something that will prevent them from getting wet. Some pencils, because if you don't know where you are and you have to draw lines on there to triangulate and find your position, you got to do that. Trekking pole. This comes out like this, so it's a telescoping trekking pole. And I really do like trekking poles because it will keep you from getting in trouble. Having a third leg really helps you from tripping and other hazards. So on to food. All right, now here's some gear. There's a lighter, obviously, for starting your stove, and some other things on here. Small Swiss Army knife, whistle. Now this, I don't know if I'm going to take. This is a Leatherman, and so why do you need this if you already have a Swiss Army knife? I don't know. You know, it's a little heavy, but there's some things here that aren't here. So, don't know. Again, you're trying to make everything lightweight. Oh, I forgot duct tape, the universal tool right there. All right, so cooking. This is a pocket rocket. This is a good thing. That goes screws on top of a canister of isopropane that I don't have one right now, but I'll get one when I get out there. It is mighty nice. This is a cook pot, and this is what you use to grab a hot cook pot with to lift it up so you don't scald your fingers. There's a lid. I don't know if I'm going to need it. And it all goes in the sack. So that's cooking stuff. What am I going to eat? Well, in the breakfast hour, we're going to have a multivitamin, like one a day. So I'm not just I won't carry this whole thing in my pack. I'll just take some out and put them in here. And this is an oatmeal mix. Oatmeal and protein powder and brown sugar. So that's what I intend to start out with. Then during the day, this is called GORP. Good old raisins and peanuts. So it has raisins, peanuts, and M&Ms. Now, I used to think M&Ms couldn't melt. Well, guess what? They did today. We had a warm day. We got some melted chocolate in there. And Cliff Bars. Do like Cliff Bars. They're good things to snack on. So that's during most of the day. Then when you get to your dinner spot, I'm kind of going towards ramen noodles, man. They're nutritionally, man, they're cheap. And I like them. And I'm intending to make ramen noodles with tuna packets. And throw in a good dose of olive oil, because olive oil has a lot of calories and will really keep you from going into starvation. Honestly, you need about 2,500 to 3,000 calories a day to do this thing. So this is a Mountain House dehydrated food that I do like, and I'll mix that in. But I didn't really show you where I'm going to cook all this. When this is empty, I'm going to take oatmeal and ramen and whatever and cook it inside of this. You just cook up, boil up a cup or two of water, put the ramen or the oatmeal in a packet like this, let the hot water sit in there for a good long time, and you have a nice meal. So that's the way I roll there. And now water, big nutritional matter. I've got these salt tablets that I do want to use. Again, I'll take some out and put them in a Ziploc. I won't carry the whole bottle with me all the time. Platypus. I like these guys. This is going to be on my hip all the time, hopefully with nice clean water. And I like having a Nalgene bottle with me because These are kind of indestructible. So I'll hook that onto my pack. And that is what I use with my water filter. Again, this is an item where people say I'm being stupid because this is 15 ounces. May not sound like a lot, but there's other filters out there like the Sawyer filter that are 2 ounces. Some people say don't use a filter, just chemically treat. And I may change up, but this guy works well for me, and this fits right on top of the Nalgene bottle. And so what I try to do is keep the Nalgene bottle and everything else clean with a little bleach. I got a little bleach in there. Try to keep that all from getting contaminated on my hands and everything else. Try to keep that all clean so that when I put stuff in this platypus or this big 2-liter platypus or these littler ones, that should be all nice clean water. So, oh, that was actually ibuprofen I was showing you before. This is the salt tablet thing right here. You don't want to get low on your electrolytes. And I just don't like getting a thick coating of sugary stuff in my mouth, so this works well for me. Now, if you're in bear territory and you got to put your food somewhere where they can't get after it, that's what this is. You put some rocks in here, throw this over a tree limb, and hoist up your food up into the tree so they can't get at it. So that is all my gear at the moment. Again, I may make some last minute changes. I just wanted to show you this. This is my bump box. This is stuff that will not be in my pack all the time, like maps for all the rest of the trail. Now, I showed you maps before. I didn't explain. There's 2 sets of maps. And the reason is the Continental Divide Trail is not just one trail. It's a trail that kind of splits, gives you alternates. So these different maps may be used or not used depending on which way you decide to go. So all the maps are in here labeled. So these are going to be in this bump box. I didn't actually explain what a bump box is. What you do is you send this ahead of you when there is a post office or a hotel that you can send it in and send it out. So this thing will be there when I get there for a lot of the towns on the trail. It's stuff that, like these maps, no reason to take 32 sets of maps times 2 when all you need is 2 sets of maps times 2 to get from you to the next town. Because these guys are kind of heavy. So, trying to save weight. So, other things in the bump box. These are some warm, long pants that might be kind of nice if I need them. This is something I was just given. It's a Steeler poncho. And how can it not be great if there's a Steeler? Okay, there's a Steeler emblem. Yeah, it's a poncho with a hood. I don't intend to start out with this because I'm starting in New Mexico where it should be pretty dry, and I've got my other rain jacket over there, but that's a bit more substantial if I need it. Then in here, what have we got in here? Oh, more socks, in case you wear out socks, and a bunch of plastic bags. You can see these are like bread bags, because if you get into cold area and your feet get really cold, you can put your feet with socks on inside these bread bags. They will keep you dry, they will keep you warm. It works great. So there's that. These shoes here, they're really nice to have around the, after you've been hiking in your shoes all day, you like to change something out, but these got some weight to it, and do I really want to carry these with me? So I'll have them in the bump box if I want to dig into them. It's also nice if you're going through stream crossings, maybe, instead of getting your big shoes wet. These guys get wet and they dry out like immediately. There's some more ramen that again, when I get to a town, I'm probably going to buy a lot of my groceries, but sometimes I may be going into a town where there's not much there. So what else do we got? A Coke bottle. The reason I might want to have this is the platypus is great. It's light, collapses when there's nothing in it, but it's not as hardy a material. This polypropylene, if you have cactus and stuff, it's a bit more resilient. So if you get out there with a platypus and all your water leaks out, that's a bad deal. These Coke bottles might be better. Gatorade bottles are even more hardy. So something like that might be handy. These are inserts in my shoes. Again, I have some Achilles tendon issues. These kind of help in the shoes. So they'll be in my bump box in case the ones I got already in my shoes kind of wear out. An extra belt. And this is some little wood screws in case I get into an area where it's real icy. And if I don't have crampons, which are spikes that you put on your shoes, you can actually put these into your shoes and they will give you some traction. So they will be there. Here's a kind of a winter hat. I got the buff, but maybe this will be nice to have. These are, hello. These are winter gloves if it gets real cold. So, and then if it gets real cold, this is a ski jacket. There's two parts to it. You can take one part off, just wear the inside or the outside. So I've had this for a long time. It's possible I may replace this with something else, but this is what I'm going with right now. And then this is just a strip of Velcro for the gaiters that I have. They attach to the back of the shoe with this Velcro, so if I have an issue, I got some extra Velcro in my bump box. So that's everything. That's the whole shooting match at the moment. Appreciate everybody who's supporting me on the trail. I appreciate it. My mom appreciates it. See you down the trail.